I'm sure it's not an easy answer, but what's been the key to what you all were able to do on the line this year in terms of rebuilding that and the success that you've had in that position?
Well, I mean, I think first of all, it's a compliment to Coach Stoops, obviously, giving us the opportunity to go out and recruit some guys. Obviously, we know there's an expectation here of the way you're supposed to play up front. And, you know, I've said this before, you can't win the NASCAR, you can't win a Daytona 500 driving a tractor. I mean, you got to be in the game. You got to be able to match up with guys. And we went out and made a conscious effort of finding the right guys that were the right character, that love football, that football was important to. And, you know, I think that's been a big part. I think, you know, our staff, Coach Hamden, our whole offensive staff, you know, we've evolved offensively in doing things. And, I mean, obviously, good quarterback play is a big part of any successful offense. And, you know, Cutter has a bright future, and, you know, he's continuing to learn things and those type of things. But, you know, if you have good quarterback play, it doesn't matter what league you're in. You look at the National Football League right now, if you don't have good quarterback play, you're going to have a problem.
You talk about the schematic changes. How does that affect your group out there?
I think the thing is like, you know, on basic run plays, you got to create angles, you know. And if they're not giving you the angles, then you got to get the better plays. At the same time is, you know, you can't ask guys to maybe do some things that they can't do. You know, for example, you know, Kyle Shanahan for a long time has been a wide zone guy, and that's a certain profile of an offensive lineman that you have to have. I think you have to do things that your guys can do and create angles in the passing game. Obviously, I mean, you know, this is the SEC is no different in the NFL. You know, you look at Texas, for example. You know what they've been doing recently up until they played Georgia. I mean, just getting rid of the ball quick. Those are things you have to do. I mean, the pass rushers in this league, the way people create pressure, you got to have answers. And, you know, obviously we have to block the right people and get on them. But a lot of times you're in 5 one-on-ones, and you know, you're matched up against guys that are playing on that side of the ball for a reason.
Marcus talked a little bit this season about the strength of the schedule and how hard it is to get young guys into the game when you're in so many close games for the most part. What's been the challenge of getting that next group of O-linemen up to speed?
Well, I think, you know, we take opportunities during practice to spend a lot of time with those guys, pushing them. Sometimes, you know, time permitting, we spend some time with them after practice. Sometimes during practice, we'll take the younger guys and go against the younger guys on defense and give them scrimmage reps and those type of things. But we're getting them reps, and I've seen a lot of growth from our young guys. I mean, I've got 2 true freshmen on that second group that have really progressed so far this season, and I feel really good about their future.
I don't think Wimberly went in with that second group Saturday. Where's just his progress been as a guy?
He has a situation where he can still redshirt,
Okay.
so he has a redshirt year. So, you know, my thing is we always want to do what's best for the program long term. So he has one more game that he can play in, and then still have a red shirt, and then still have 2 years left. So that would be a huge plus for us moving forward. And, you know, you got to always look for the best interest of the player, continuing to develop them. I think there's a development piece that takes place at this level. You know, I say a lot of times, freshmen coming out of high school, sometimes it takes almost 2 years to get those guys ready to play at this level because of the physicality that you have to deal with up front on a day-to-day basis. You know, you don't rotate offensive linemen for the most part. You know, we played several teams. They'll have every 4 or 5 plays they'll rotate their D-line, whereas you need to have that chemistry at O-line.
Dude, since those guys haven't got a lot of game reps, what's the challenge in knowing whether they'll be ready next year with the holes you already?
I've done this long enough. I have a pretty good feel for what we have moving forward, and I think the future looks bright. You know, we'll fill in some guys here and there, but I'm really encouraged by our youth, some of the guys we have in place, and we'll pick up some guys again next year, just like always. You know, it's kind of like free agency these days, and you know, we'll pick up a few guys, but I'm encouraged by our young players and their, you know, moving forward.
Coach, you did bring in a bunch of new pieces to the line, but guys like Jagger Burton, Jalen Farmer, they've been here. What role did they play in bringing those new guys in to make sure there was chemistry for you guys this year?
I think one of the big things is obviously Jagger being a local guy, really helped acclimate the guys just to Lexington in general. I mean, don't ever take this place for granted. Lexington's a great place to live. I lived a lot of places. I know it's cold and rainy today, but it's a great place to live, and there's great people here. So he got a chance to get them out and show them around, places to eat, golf, fish, all that kind of stuff. You know, Jagger organized a trip where they went down to Chattanooga and rented this big cabin, and we're out there playing around with bears and stuff. I mean, I'm like, you guys are absolutely crazy. But, you know, those kind of things. Jalen Farmer is a guy that was here a year earlier, and he was a transfer guy. So he can relate to the guys coming in, you know, kind of letting them know what Wolf's like. And I think that's important too. You know, you're coming here to elevate your draft stock. If you're an upperclassman, obviously help us win games and get better. And what's it going to be like? You know, I always say this is not going to be a petting zoo. That's all I mean. We're coming here to work and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Everybody good?